Okay, so I want to talk about the subject of friendship. And by the way, if anyone's wondering about this Obama t-shirt, that's correct. It is an Obama t-shirt. I collect political memorabilia from various campaigns and so on. I've also got the autobiography of George W. Bush, so that just balances it out. Anyway, I just wanted to clear that up in case it was a distraction to the video. I want to talk about friendship and the nature of friendship, specifically sincerity. It is something I've covered before, but there's a particular angle I want to take with this one, which I only touched on in the previous video, and that is the excuse of being busy. We live in a very fast moving world, and whilst some parts of the world, some cultures are perhaps more fast paced than others, it's a general truism of the world, the modern world that we live in. People often do work long hours and they genuinely are busy. Even if it isn't in a work context, life is busy. They're busy with family commitments, they're busy with tasks, routine daily chores. Busyness is a normal part of modern living. But I do feel that sometimes this excuse, well, this is used as an excuse. Oh, can't talk now, I'm busy. Can't talk, I'm busy. The thing is, more often than not, it is true, they really are busy. But I do suspect that sometimes when people just can't be bothered to deal with someone else, they use this as an excuse. I think that's true. And if we're being honest, probably most of us have ourselves done it at some point. Because, we put a lot of value on being sincere in what we say and do. But actually, it's not so easy to be that direct with people who consider us their friends and vice versa. I've personally been in this situation where I've had people who I did consider friends, and whenever I spoke to them, to ask what's up or whatever, they would always give the impression that they wanted to leave the conversation. And I'm not an idiot, I would work that out. I'd work out that there was a vibe going on there. Um, so, I've been in that situation where people have said they're busy and they just know, well, okay, they might be, but there's something going on here. When that becomes the excuse every time, then you do see that there's something more to it. Because nobody is busy 24 hours a day of every week unless they're a slave. So I do think that can be used as a convenient excuse, and we have to be wary of it. We have to be assertive. I think if it's a choice between kind of ending a friendship on a sour note, with an argument, with a kind of it's not working out goodbye, that is still preferable to living through a false friendship. That is to say, staying connected with someone that ostensibly is your friend, but they don't really act like your friend. Now, when it becomes a situation where you're always contacting the person first, they never contact you, you do have to start to wonder. And one thing I sometimes get accused of is overthinking. And that, I plead guilty to that. I think maybe sometimes I do overthink. But that can have a mixed sort of influence on life. It can be a big problem because it can be frustrating. You overthink. It's not, sometimes you just want to relax and you can't when you're overthinking a particular subject. On the other hand, it can make you see things in a certain angle and it can make you be more assertive in a way that you wouldn't be if you don't care about things, if you're not assertive. Um, well, say if you don't care about things, I'd put it another way, if you're naive. And that's not the same as not caring. Some people are too trusting and too naive. And they're not overthinking, that's the opposite. So that's an example of where overthinking isn't necessarily a bad thing. or how would I put it, analytical thinking. Overthinking is not good, but analytical thinking, just weighing things up, reflecting on things is not a bad thing. It's a mark of intelligence. The only problem is if you don't sort of set some kind of personal boundaries, then yeah, you end up paranoid and overthink things. So it's about striking a balance. But I think basically friendship is about respect. It works both ways. And if a friendship is only coming from one side, if only one person, and I haven't even touched relationships here. I'm just talking about friendship. If one person just isn't putting as much thought into the friendship as the other person, then you start to wonder, you really do. And it's one of the hardest things in life, ascertaining trust in these situations. And sometimes it's inevitable that you will be hurt. It's not easy. I think most people have been in a situation where they felt let down by someone. And like I've said in the previous videos, most of us, if we're being honest, are not saints. Most of us have probably at some point let others down, either because we really couldn't be bothered or because we were subconsciously not caring. I have been in situations where there have been people that have been a little bit clingy to me, and I just didn't feel that close to them. And I did find it difficult to be blunt and say, oh, I don't want to be friends with you. It's not that I considered them enemies, it's not that I even particularly disliked them, I just didn't feel that connected to them. Um, so these things are about getting a balance, and it is really not easy. So just like to know people's thoughts. Have you had the experience? What do you think of this? Do you think it's important to be assertive? Do you think it's important to not care? The thing about not caring is you really have to get into that realm of genuinely not caring. Rather than, it's the easiest thing to say you don't care, but I think it's quite hard to actually genuinely not care. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. And is that old line, I'm busy, an excuse? Or is it sincere? I think it's a bit of both. I think more often than not, people genuinely are busy, but I also genuinely believe that can be used as probably the easiest excuse in the book. It's like that joke when a kid doesn't bring his homework into the teacher, they say the dog ate it. That's kind of the old line. Well, I think I am busy is the old line about, oh, well, really, I can't be bothered to talk to you. I'm just saying that. And like I say, often it is true. It's like I'm tired. Again, that could be very true. It's just this all comes down to a trend. If it is constantly the excuse, then well, I think it's time to start asking questions. We do have to be flexible and understand that people are busy, but I think when it becomes an excuse all the time, then you start to wonder. So let me know your thoughts. Cheers.